Welcome to the Self-Service Generation podcast, where we explore how technology impacts, improves, and enables the customer experience that we all expect from businesses and organizations that we engage or work with. Don't worry, we only keep it to 20 minutes, so hopefully you'll find it interesting. Thanks very much.
So welcome to the Self-Service Generation podcast with me, Gavin, and I've also got Steve.
Hello, how you doing? You all right?
I am fine.
You're. I know we had a wardrobe update last time, but yeah, mate, you're going full on cami, disappear into your background today.
It's a good job. It's a good job we mainly focus on audio, isn't it? Because they wouldn't be able to see me anyway.
No, that's right. Well, did you see a floating head? Is what I'm thinking.
It's probably not a bad thing, to be fair. But, oh dear. So yeah, we've got an interesting topic today. We've got a lot to cover, I think, haven't we? So I think it might be good if we can jump straight into. And I've got to make sure I say this right, because I keep
no
saying
pleasantries this week, folks.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the thing. I think we'll get into it, and then maybe if we have time, we'll do some pleasantries at the end. we'll mix it up a little bit. It's chaos already. We'll see how we go on. So the topic for today is consumer duty. Customer duty, consumer duty is the actual what the FCA call it, which is Financial Regulation Authority. Yeah. But yeah, customers, consumers, depending who you deal with, really. It's introduced back in May. The deadline for businesses to be able to meet the regulations is the end of July this year, which is 2023. And it's about kind of protecting personal interests, transparency, shaping the market, and then empowering individuals. It's about trying to really make sure that organizations are properly servicing and serving their customers in a way that creates better outcomes for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, the point is that this regulation is put into place to protect consumers. That's what the FCA do. That's why we have a regulatory body. But the principles are sound, and we're going through a piece of work. Well, we're just deploying a piece of work now for the insurer to meet the deadline, and there's loads of pieces that when you then audit this process that you've had in place for a little bit, and you make it friendlier, you make it pretty, you make everything nice, so it looks nice. But of course, there's loads of stuff in there that you go, well, okay, is that clear information? Is that transparent? Does it make the offering that you're doing as transparent as possible, with the option of asking questions about it or finding more information without interrupting the journey? Because of course, invariably these are sales journeys. So the work that we're currently doing is around that, and bringing pieces of information forward where they were maybe a bit further down the track, so more as you were sucked into your sales flow, but earlier on, so you're more informed before you dive in. And it's a really interesting part of the buying journey, really, because I suppose if you are trying to get a piece of insurance and stuff like that, the transparency is really hard, isn't it? Because the big pieces usually these things, aren't they? The terms and conditions are just ridiculously not clear, and you feel as though that you're just been undermined at every point as a consumer.
But also, I think we have to look at it and go, like, a lot of the time, I don't think there's necessarily. I've got to be really careful what I say. I don't think there's malice there. I don't think it's there to mislead. It's more the fact that I guess a lot of the time content in these industries are created by people in these industries, and they don't always take into consideration that most people don't understand half the language that they're using when they're talking about their policy, talking about the things, the services that they're offering, and they're not the most customer centered from a content standpoint. And
policy teams aren't. Policy teams don't deal directly with their customers, but their terms and conditions and your sample policy and all this type of stuff, the things that you need to see, information about what's covered and what's not covered, those things are written by somebody else usually, that are not necessarily the marketing team, that are going to make it a friendly communication to somebody else, or not always anyway. And
ultimately we're the same, aren't we, in regards to the way that we run our businesses? Like we'll have a contract, we'll have a terms and conditions. Chances are they've been written up by a lawyer, and most of the language in that will be written in lawyer speak, which most people don't understand. And I'm hoping we're going to be doing a piece soon that kind of makes that a little bit more human, a little bit more kind of customer centered, so people can understand what it is they're signing up to, but while also allowing it to protect us at the same time. So I think businesses across, we need to do our bit as well to make sure that we're kind of supporting that, and from our kind of client standpoint. But from a regulation point of view, businesses really need to start focusing and making sure that they're meeting these guidelines. And there's a few different things they have to consider, and it's making sure they're acting in good faith. And again, it's about avoiding foreseeable harm, and it's not just about kind of saying, oh yeah, we've done no harm. It's actually being able to go, no, we can prove the fact that we've done everything in our power to support the customer and be able to make a decision that is in the best interest of them, and we're able to prove we're the right company to be able to support them. If we're not the right company to support them, we've also made sure that we've told them that as well, and making sure they're acting in best faith.
Yeah, the thing is, the consumers are smarter now, I think, than they ever have been. So your customer that comes into your service, whether it's physical or digital, when they interact to that service, they pretty much know what they're doing. They're trying to even the scales through the aggregators, so compare the market and confused and stuff like that. So the messaging in there also has to match up with what it's landing on, so those things are all part of the journey. But I think you can set yourself aside as well. So much as this is a regulation, and it's been imposed, to be, so you are compliant and you've got everything right. It's actually a very, very good process for going, well, okay, we are honest, we are transparent, we are this, we are that, and this is why we're offering you this insurance for X money. Because when you start engaging with this process, you feel confident that these people are not trying to mislead, even if it's unintentional, like we were saying, by having unclear language or just bits of information you can't find, or whatever. I mean, hey, it's going to save a lot of downstream time, where you'll get a million questions about something, because it wasn't on the website, or it wasn't in the process, it wasn't in the documents, or it wasn't clear. It's deep somewhere, so why not make it as easy to get? So I mean, every insurance policy's got lots of different layers to it now. So we are doing stuff around pet, and you've got loads of layers to that. What vet fees you have, whether accidents covered, whether dentistry's in there, and all those types of. So lots of different layers to a pet insurance. So it's probably it's got to be a good 15 to 20 different areas of that insurance, so being able to then just, whichever's important to you as a consumer, you go, what's that cover then? And that covers this, nice little bit of information. Is my dog covered? Have we got excluded breeds? Have we got this, that, and the other? All those little bits. But as long as it's transparent and clear, then that works. And we got most of that's there already. It's not that it has ever been not there, but the point is making it as clear as possible. And then of course you have a nice comfy feeling with it, because you've come in from an aggregator, you're coming from one of the big compare the markets, and you go, yeah, that's fine. We've integrated that journey, so that journey then lands on their page, and they go, this is the insurance you were choosing, this is the thing, and the information matches. There's more information here if you want it. Everything's there, it's clear, the pricing's super clear, everything you get super clear. This is everything, that how it breaks down, transparency in the whole process, so that there's no consideration that this isn't accurate, or there's no challenges here, and whether you've given them the right information or not. It's just clear. And I think that then helps your brand, because you're more likely to convert if everything's clear, surely.
I mean, ultimately you kind of ultimately you're in a position, ideal scenarios, and we did a blog post on this in the insurance sector looking at actually from a loyalty point of view, the benefits for the bottom line in focusing on and driving loyalty. And this very much fits in that, If you can make sure that your customer, your clients have got those best outcomes from utilizing you as a service provider, and you're clear with your communication, and you're really easy to understand, really easy to use, you're going to the clients. I mean, I know the compare sites are easy, but actually it's so much easier to stay first and stay with them if they make it easy. Right. And then obviously the cost challenge is always going to be there, but if you can get that balance right, along with making the experience really easy and adding that value from a customer service point of view, by making sure that you are creating that value, you aren't creating damaging outcomes for your customers, then you're going to see it on the bottom. You're going to see it on the bottom line anyway, whether you're an insurer or another organisation. So, and the main pinnacle and the main focus on this is very much an understanding, and you're only going to be able to really be able to do that is if you really understand what are the needs of the customers that you're servicing, what do they want to get out of the service, and tailoring the way that you work, tailoring the language on your site to how you sell their products, and also testing that as well. Going, okay, we've done this work, we've changed the way the language works on the site. Let's pick some people off the street and ask them if they are able to go through the purchasing process of buying insurance, and ask them if they understand, and try to see if they understand the content that they're reading, and then using that as your litmus test to go, okay, maybe we need to start making some changes here and here. We haven't quite got this right, and that's the only way really you're going to be able to see it from the outside, see what consumers are really feeling, is actually going through the process of testing and really seeing it. And obviously if you've done that and you can evidence that you've done that, that then forms part of the evidence for the consumer duty piece to say, look, we are going to continually go through this process of testing with customers, understanding their needs and seeing how we can make sure that the service is as clear as possible.
No, you're absolutely right. And I suppose really as well, the point is that this has been imposed on the insurers to be clear and be this, that, provide this information. So there's, it's a big regulation piece. This was first introduced in May 21. So there's a couple of years to get used to the idea. But the fact that this is an FCA regulation and this is for FCA regulated businesses doesn't mean that it can't be for other businesses as well. If we think about a consumer duty in any area of our world, we're all consumers, we all buy stuff. Retail is as important in this process. So being able to ask lots of questions about different areas of your purchase, the most irritating thing I think I ever have when you're buying stuff on retail is trying to find the delivery details. How much is it going to cost me to get this sent to me? I mean, how many times is that a problem? Just trying to find it.
Or just once you've ordered something, wondering, is it going to turn up?
Oh, well,
they've got you through this buying process, brilliant, the beautiful service, you know exactly what it is that you're buying.
Right.
But actually, they've taken your money. It could be, a mattress, for example.
I knew you were going to bring up mattress gate again.
and then in regards, you need to make sure it's a negative outcome for you if you're in a situation where you thought the mattress was going to arrive at this time, hasn't arrived this time, and then puts you in a bad situation. Those industries aren't yet regulated to work on this basis, but ultimately, we're back to that point of loyalty again. You would recommend the company. Now, because you've had that bad experience, you wouldn't recommend them, or you'd recommend with a big warning to be aware of. You might get it next year. And then it's the impact that has. If you can then promote loyalty, promote referrals, and then from a business point of view, then obviously it's going to benefit you in the long run. If you can create that clarity, understanding, and really make sure that you're meeting your consumers' needs.
Very much so. And I know we're talking about the mattress. That's right. But
sorry to bring the pain back.
No,
remind you of the pain.
I'm reliving it again. I'm going to need to go to get some more counselling. But
we're going to say more sleep.
Already finding difficult sleep. The point is and again, I don't want to mention the brand because I just don't want to. But it's a quite a techie kind of purchase. This one is, you know, it's got like lots of stuff involved in the mattress build and all that sort of stuff. We got pillows as well and stuff like that to the match up, and you go, oh, those are great and stuff like that. But there's no information from them, and I think I mentioned the fact there was a big barcode or a QR code on the top of the box, and scanning it took me to a 404 page. Not there. But also there's equally no information about the products I've just purchased on their sites. There was very little came with it. I didn't really expect a big leaflet to come with it, you know, let's save some trees. But digitally, they could have put more information on their site. But the site is very focused around sales and not about information, which comes right the way back to our consumer duty bit, which is going, I don't have any information about this. There's a, you know, there's a pillow there. I kind of took the pillow apart because it was a bit high. Yeah. But I realized, because I'd had a little look inside, you know, it's like in a case thing. Well, I had a little look inside and I realized there's layers. So I can make it a bit lower by taking one of the layers out, which is quite nice. Because it was a bit high and we were going, it's a bit high for us. You know, I want something that's in the middle, not a flat one, but a bit. No, this is important stuff.
You've got to tailor it to you.
Yeah, you've got to tailor it.
The British cycling team also believe that sleep is important. And one of the things they got their team to do is bring their own pillows because sleep is important. It's those percentages.
Well, you know, and this is part of this process. So I had to find that out by myself rather than just going, no, this is too high. I won't use those pillows. Well, that's a waste of time and money because they're not cheap, these pillows. And you go, and each side has got a different, so one side's softer than the other, you know, but I had to kind of find that out and feel it, because it's only increments of slightly firmer on one side and stuff like that. But I realized that one sort of foam was softer, so I could turn it over and use the softer side slightly lower, and the pillow's working really nicely. But I had to find that out. I had to get a crick in my neck a couple of times to do that, rather than going, day one, let me adjust it because that's a bit right like my normal pillow. Right.
Yeah. And then you bring that back. If you bring that back and reel that back from the financial, whether you're looking at borrowing money, whether you're looking at getting a new mortgage, whether you're looking at renewing your insurance, that point of with a product like that, you're literally in discomfort and pain because of not having the information you need to make sure the product works for you. Well, and if you're doing that in the financial point of view, the impacts are huge. We're ultimately seeing a big challenge around interest rates at the moment. If you end up going on the wrong rate or on a policy that doesn't work for you, you're going to you'll find yourself in hot water and in quite a big challenge. So we really have to look at. That's why this consumer duty has really come into play to make sure that it protects consumers. But again, from a business-wide point of view, this applies to everybody. Go out there. Like bring someone in to really help you understand the needs of the customers that you're serving. Get them to test the way that you're communicating with your customers to make them make sense with real people, with your target customer. Understand who your target customer is. Make sure you get the messaging right, and start measuring the impact of that as well. So you can then cycle that back and okay, this isn't quite working. We can then improve the way that we're working, and then start making sure that we're having measurable outcomes that are actually making sense. That's just ultimately it's good business.
Yes, very much so. And like you know. There's no reason why every business can't do this. It's got to be part of your mix. You know, you've got to kind of do this thing. And I just want to first off as well just say well done for bringing it back on point from the mattress conversation. But anyway, that was different. But no, it is. You're absolutely right. And measuring that outcome, you can do that because all the tools are there and they're available, you know, and services that we do, you do, can kind of make sure one, it's right, but two, make sure it's right in the real world, you know, and it's measured and you know that actually once people are looking at the new you and the way that you present your stuff, it's very clear. And you're not hiding where your delivery details are, and you're not hiding all that stuff, you know, because that's the point. Look, everybody says Amazon wins, and Amazon wins for the reason that it's just total clear. You know, it's straight off the bat, free one day. Now they have had some backlash just recently on the fact that they weren't being clear, you know. So you would go, And I've had it myself where you go a free 1 day delivery and then you go through and it's not. It will arrive in 2-3 days, which, okay, it's a first world problem, but it isn't clear and it isn't what you were hoping to be. And also they're not super clear. It's hidden if you're not used to the platform, whether they're delivering it and it's supplied from them or supplied from a third party. And that, of course, makes a lot of difference to the experience. So these things are super important and they have to be considered,
Yeah, definitely. And we've always said that from a self-service point of view, the main thing is about information. It's giving people access to information to be able to allow them to make smart choices and be able to take action. And that's what this is really about doing. And I think on that note, it's about saying, thanks everybody for listening. Thanks, Steve, for your time and being able to talk through this and share your experience as well. It's been good to talk through, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit, although we did get a bit of mattress in there, so that was always light-hearted. It's always bringing Mattressgate back. So thank you for that. And I blame you for that.
Always happy to assist.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody. I hope that was helpful, and we'll speak to you next time.
Yeah, speak to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Self-Service Generation podcast. We hope you enjoyed it and found it interesting. Look out for more in the series where we take deep dives around specific challenges in this space. Until next time.